Hello and welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah and she's Lindsay.
And together we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcast I've ever seen.
And in this episode we're doing the 2024 TV movie of Sense and Sensibility.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Yep. It happened.
Mm-hmm. I wanted it to be good and
I did want it to be good.
Sad now.
Yeah, so this was like a Netflix, no, not Netflix, Hallmark. Trying to do like Bridgerton inspired Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah, basically.
And not succeeding at any of it.
No,
really.
They were like, Bridgerton's super popular. Jane Austen's in, I always want to say fair trade, public domain. So how can we make money out of this?
Yeah, how can we capitalize on the trend of Bridgerton?
We're not going to read the book. We're just going to watch the Ang Lee masterpiece and Bridgerton and use those. Yeah.
And then not have Netflix's budget for costuming, acting, music, writing, anything. Yeah. And like they tried to do something with the casting, like they cast a wide net for casting. It wasn't just white people.
Mm-hmm.
But then they like, it's almost like they were trying to say something, or like the roles that they chose to cast as black.
Mm-hmm. I know. I was trying to see. I was like, are they
do something?
Something. But
yeah, it would have been better if they'd just done it like a play where it's like actually colorblind casting, just like cast the best person for each role.
Yeah.
Even if that means they don't look like each other. But
I know, because it's not like, I'm not going to get into colorblind casting because it is white people, black people. There's no other representation in
that's
this movie. Even though, like, of course, like this cast is like 80% black, which is great, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to highlight it. But it is of like, are they trying to say something? But then if they are, why is Colonel Brandon black? But like, why? Yeah, like all of this. Like, why is literally everybody in the Dashwood family black except for the dad, and then therefore the brother are white, and like Fanny's white and she's evil, but then Mrs. Ferris is black. So I'm like, what do you like? You're just not. There's nothing lining up, and I don't know.
Yeah, it just felt like a half-baked thought. Yeah. Like, it would be cool if we put black people in this Sense and Sensibility, which, agreed. Black actors should have the chance to play those roles, too.
Yeah.
But then, it was odd. Anyways, yeah. And then the Bridgerton of it all was like, the bright colors.
Oh my god, they were so bright. And it's just, like, obviously, I know, in general, because I know things, and also because I've watched 11 million YouTube videos about behind the scenes of Bridgerton. I know that that's not the fabrics that existed in the 19th century, but these ones are worse. They're like almost polyester level of shiny purple.
Well, though these were, I think, probably
they were cheaper,
rented costumes, pre-made rented costumes.
And then they were also like, the embellishments were so weird and just everywhere. Anyway.
Yeah. And then at like a weird place, not even like the most emotional place, but I guess it was the song that they could afford a violin cover of.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god,
a violin cover of Kiss from a Rose.
It was the best. I was literally in my kitchen at that point because I was like, they're just at the ball. Marianne's gonna see Willoughby and everyone's gonna, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I know what happens. So I was in my kitchen and I was like, oh, they're gonna do a violin cover, because of Bridgerton ripoff. And then I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
What is happening?
It's weird that it wasn't at like the emotional climax of the film or anything. It was
just, I know, like they're not, and they don't
like,
dance.
It's an important scene, but
there's no dancing. Like, since there is actual no plot dancing in Sense and Sensibility, so it's like, Yep.
And then, basically, as Lindsay said in the beginning, I don't think the writer probably has read the book, but I don't think everybody has read the book.
No,
and it was so like just fully based on the 1995 movie.
Yeah, and like almost exact scene for scenes. At the beginning, there's a scene like when the dad dies, everybody's there, which is fine, and that's fine. But then the next scene where John is talking to Fanny about giving the money is in a carriage. It's the exact shot.
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing in the book that they're like, Fanny and John are in a carriage and they're talking, like, it's not a book thing. We watched Emma Thompson's brilliant movie and we stole it.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And then there was a couple of other ones later on that I can't remember now, but it was...
But yeah, that's the most obvious one.
That's the most obvious one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we're ripping on this a lot. Was there any bits that you did like?
I did like this line from Fanny that has nothing to do with this movie, but maybe it was an insight because they changed the Ferris family a lot, which we can discuss. But Fanny at one point is like being Fanny, and she's like, I'm in charge of making sure that Robert and Edward have successful marriages. And I was like, joke's on you, Fanny, you suck at that job. They both did not do that.
I mean, they, by their own definition of success, yes, they had.
Yeah, of course, but not by Fanny's. That's the whole point.
No,
Fanny.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's about this? Fanny, I guess, not Edward. Fanny and Mrs. Ferris, Fanny's mom, are step sister and mother to Edward. And that's not a book thing.
No.
Right? So that's the thing that they added in for...
Well, I think it's because... So Mrs. Ferris looked like she was biracial, and then Fanny maybe was also meant to be? I'm not really sure. It was like... This is the whole thing of like, am I supposed to deduce relationships by looking at people's skin color? Like, which I don't like doing, because that's not how things work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, I don't know.
It was
or
a
like
confusing thing.
Rationalize why Edward's so different than them.
Yeah, that's all I can think of. Because then at the end, there's a whole added scene where Edward tells them off, which is not in any adaptation I know of. Like
it was a good scene though.
It's implied, and it was a good scene, and I liked it. But again, I think it's to make Edward feel. I feel like the makers of this movie thought that Edward situation, which is like very conveniently solved by Lucy and his brother just whatevering. Like, it is a like convenient plot
falling in love
point that Jane like probably couldn't wrote herself into a corner about. Anyway, so but they felt bad about it and they needed to make Edward be better. So they gave him this scene and made them step families so that he's a good person. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. And then so I did so they made Eleanor an artist because it gives her like an activity to do, which I liked and like feels believable in the movie.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why, but like it wasn't a bad thing. It was just a choice that I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it just because it gave her like an activity, which is nice rather than just like looking cute. Because
because she had to wear these crazy bonnets that didn't fit. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because the costumes were terrible.
This cottage is huge. Huge.
I know. I was like, I thought the whole time, like for like half of it, that it was the main house, not the cottage.
Yeah, not the cottage.
It's like, but when did they go into the cottage?
Exactly.
Because it had like high ceilings.
Yeah, but then Eleanor and Marianne still share a bed.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, there's no way this is a 2-bedroom cottage. It has more than 2 bedrooms.
So, it's very whatever. And then Marianne and her piano-ness, and that's her thing. That's the thing that Marianne does, and she's playing Minuet in G, which, like, whatever. I'm not going to mock Beethoven, but I am going to mock their choice. They're like, so they watched Sense and Sensibility and Bridgerton and The Music Man, and then we're like, let's make this movie. It's so strange.
Very strange.
And they're like, that was so good and amazing. I was like, it's like, you can play, like, I'm not a pianist, but like, the version that she's playing, I think you can play with, like, just 2 fingers, almost.
I knew how to play it when I knew how to play the piano. Yeah. Okay. And then we get 2 kisses?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck, Hallmark?
I know. They don't kiss that much in a normal Hallmark movie. Like, it was very weird. Yeah. And then Edward's speech at the end is good, but one of the things that they did is they took half of Darcy's speech from 2005.
Like vibes from Darcy's speech.
And like smushed it in there. I watched the Hugh Grant version afterwards. I was like, this is a good speech. Like, he gets his own speech. Like, why are you doing this?
And the speech as written in the book is really good too. So
yeah, again,
I don't know.
Anyway.
Okay.
Moving on.
Shall we move on and talk about some tropes?
So, this is... A lot of these are going to be the same. Because that's still the same plot.
Yeah, as for like last time we did Sense and Sensibility. Yeah.
So both sisters fall in love.
Yep. It ends in a wedding. And this time it's clear that it's not a double wedding.
And it's Eleanor and not Marianne. Like
we get the other wedding. Yeah, which I liked.
I'm classifying Willoughby as a bad, lame first love. Like, it's like we talk so much about the lame exes, but which I guess technically he is. It's weird to talk about exes in Regency, but
like Regency, yeah. No, he is a bad ex. Okay, and then we get abandoning your bad family because of love, which is Edward.
It's one of those things again. I was like, I'm really drawn to the white person in this movie, which is not like it has nothing to do with the fact that he's white, which is also seems like a weird thing to say. Like, if they had made Edward a black character or any other kind of race, I still like. I liked what they did with Edward, but it just happens to be that he's
not the acting in particular.
He's
just
the main white character, and I was like, that's not why I'm drawn to him. I'm so conflicted, but
I did like Colonel Brandon.
Yeah, and Eleanor, like, she did well. Like, her big scene about Edward being in love with him and being sad and having to hold everything together.
Yeah. No, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there are montages in a Jane Austen movie.
Oh, shocking. Okay. Does this movie pass the Bechdel test?
Yeah. Okay. So similar to even last week, but Jane Austen, as we've said, technical pass because their job is to find a husband. But this one I'm more frustrated with because they made Eleanor an artist. And then they didn't follow up on that. The only person
she doesn't get to talk about
the only person she talks about her art to is Edward. Her and I guess technically you can chalk this up to nobody really paying attention to Eleanor because she's quiet and is organized.
Yeah, and that's kind of the whole point.
And everyone else in her family is like dramatic and falling a bit because they have to live in this mansion and have pineapples, but apparently they're super poor. Anyway. But so that frustrates me because there's lots of things that technical passive finding a husband.
Yeah,
they do talk about the entail a lot because they need to spell it out for the people watching. They like more than they normally talk about it and stuff like that. But I'm like, but also, what if one of you asked her about what she was drawn instead of
or like if her and Meg had more conversations?
Because Meg was there, but not really.
Yeah, I know. I was bummed there wasn't more Meg.
Because she's great.
But they do get it for whining about being poor.
True.
Okay, let's make a pie.
Okay, so Edward Spoon, because he's very dreamy.
Yes, he is very dreamy.
In a Hallmarky way.
But also Colonel Brandon Spoon.
Yeah, no,
I always love Colonel Brandon. So let's do
both.
35? 35% for that? Okay. And then we've got ripping off of the Ang Lee 1995 version and also ripping off of Bridgerton Vibes.
Oh my God. A million.
50?
Yeah. Oh, that leaves us with 15.
Which is perfect.
For useless bonnets. Which is funny because I went back to look and bonnets is in our 1995 pie chart. So this is perfect because this is useless bonnets.
Excellent.
It works very well.
Okay. What do we think is next for them?
Oh, well, it's still the same story, and I still support both of these marriages, so hooray!
Yes, they will stay married. Yeah. And this, I believe, is our last bit of July. So, Lindsay, what's next for us in August?
It's going to be better because...
And ridiculous.
Next month is Whoopi month. Why? Because we make the rules.
Oh my gosh.
So...
Pretty much.
First up will be Ghost. Not a comedy, except for Whoopi. But I'm excited because I haven't watched Ghost in a really long time. And then later in August, we'll be doing Karina, which will be interesting to watch as an adult.
Indeed.
And then on the Patreon, which is the main reason we're doing this, we're doing the best romantic comedy of all time. Sister Act 2.
I mean, I would say it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I would also say it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my favorite sequel of all time, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best movie, and... You can fight me on that.
And it's our Patreon, so we make the rules.
But anyway, do join us over there.
Indeed. We make the rules and hope that you enjoy them. That brings us to the end of our episode. You can leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcast. And you can always find us on social media. We're at Charts and Hearts Podcast on the Instagram, Facebook threads, and at Charts and Hearts on Twitter.
You can head to our website, chartsandhearts.com, where you can submit your suggestions for rom-coms and tropes for us to add to the list. we know there's one more Sense and Sensibility left, at least, that we'll do eventually, plus lots of other Austen stuff. Yeah. But we are trying to be more inclusive as we can, so if there are movies that are maybe with a slightly higher production quality that have some great representation that you know about, please do let us know, because we want to expand our horizons and watch new things that we can enjoy instead of be sad about like this. So,
indeed.
You can also, as we said, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/chartsandheartsclub, where this month we talked about Jane Austen Book Club, which was great.
Let us know your thoughts on this movie, or also any of the other, if you've watched any of the other Hallmark Jane Austen movies that they did. We would love to hear about them. And in the meantime, to wish was to hope, and to hope was to expect.
Eleanor!
And I have feelings. Sorry.
Bye.
Bye.